and then you have local taxes, you have sales taxes. If you have a property, even if you buy it, if you pay it off, you're still paying property taxes. I don't even think they do that in South America.
They don't do that in a lot of countries, you know.
You're on your home.
Is your home.
Exactly. My idea now is to be that voice for Miami.
Thank you for joining the Layla Show. I am here with my good friend Linda.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
And we met just like I met a bunch of other cool people because of COVID.
Yes.
So COVID, I feel like I just
brought a lot of us together.
Yeah, I really did. And we connected immediately. It was during the lockdown when we refused to be locked down and we were having
Halloween party.
Yes.
That's where I met you, actually.
That's right. We had a huge Halloween party October 2020 at our house. There's 100 people there.
Yeah, it was a good time.
We refused to be locked out. And, we just started talking and, I want you to introduce yourself and we will put in the show notes your Instagram pages. Great. And I know you have a podcast as well because I was just on your podcast. Thank you for having me. Of course. And, so we could at least share with our viewers where to find you.
Great.
So I want to start with, tell me how you became an activist in both the vaccine world and in the political world. You were really, really instrumental in bringing awareness to the Latinos.
Yes.
Opening their eyes to, the reality of what was going on.
The lies of the left,
yes.
I would say, yeah.
And you were also very instrumental in transforming the school board from liberals to conservatives.
Yes.
And I remember a few of the occasions we went out there with our team of teachers to help you fight.
Yeah,
and,
that was great.
Just be against all the insanity that the board was trying to mandate and force. And, we had our posts and our sticks and we were, out in the front with you and people were mad because they're like, what does this private school have to do with this? No. This is about all of us. This is about protecting our children.
They were very, as far as insensitive towards parents and children, but also they didn't like the fact that we were pushing back. It was the first time from what we heard internally that they had ever seen that amount of people outside protesting, a certain agenda. They had never seen that before. Yeah. So it was pretty, I'd say not only a pivotal time in Miami-Dade politics, but also probably something that's going to go down in history. You got a lot of media attention. You could still see the articles and videos. You
have a few good videos that they recorded at the hearing. I wish way more adults did this. They need our protection.
I don't even have children of my own.
Well, when you do, you're going to be an awesome mom.
Thank you.
And thank you for fighting for our kids.
Of course.
So take us back. How did you get into this world, vaccines and then politics? Yeah,
so it's pretty random. I started a meme page November 2018, right after the midterm elections. DeSantis had just won governor. And I was just posting what they call online. There's a internet term called shit posting, which is pretty much memes, funny stuff that you find on the internet. Nothing, no activism, just, funny things that I saw and I thought of. And my account started getting a lot of attention. Then I started getting bigger influencers that like my content, like DC Drano, to repost me. I remember I got the first 5,000 followers through him. And I just kept on. And so, at that time, I said, well, I have the attention of people. I want to talk about something that I'm very passionate about. And at that time, I was really into the vaccine. I was this is fraud. And, I tried to be sensitive to those who are still in the pro-vax world. But to me, the reality is that vaccines are probably responsible for most of our health conditions and the decay of the overall health of America. I think we can stem most of our problems from vaccines.
But how did you even figure that out? Most people don't figure it out until they have
something
a kid
happens, right?
Or they have a family member that got hurt. What how did that even happen?
So I think intuitively, kind of like you, when you were gonna vaccinate your children and you had that first, your child, and you had that first experience, for me, it was always, I remember even when I was younger, when I was a kid, thinking to myself, so you inject the virus, a little bit of the virus, in case you get the virus. Like, they never made any sense to me, right? Just having zero info, I just thought it was kind of ridiculous in a way.
Natural critical thinking brain.
Right. I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I inject something that I don't have yet? And then it's like, oh, well, herd immunity, just in case, they give you all these explanations. And I think at some point, I just bumped into post also, which kind of made me have a light bulb moment and say, wait, maybe this is a topic that I want to visit, that I want to learn more about. And sure, before 2020, there was a lot more information that you can find through blogs, through videos. YouTube hadn't censored people. X, also Instagram wasn't what it is now. There was a lot more free than it is now. So I just started researching, watching videos, like nonstop. I came to learn about RFK and the work that he was doing with the children's defense, right? I think
Children's Health Defense.
I also read a book, forgot the name, I think it's called The Autism Vaccine. And I just started following leaders like in the sphere, in the, community of anti-vaxxers, and then watching these parents like post the videos of their healthy children who they took to get vaccinated and then regress on the spectrum and then stop talking, couldn't walk, couldn't make eye contact, crying hysterically. And I had this this was actually like a really crazy spiritual story. I go to a kava bar on South Beach, right? It doesn't exist anymore. They changed locations, but it used to be on South of 5th. And I remember it was late night. This is pre-COVID, so this is like 2019. And I'm working late. It's like 11:30 p.m. The bar used to be open till like 2.
You were working at the
kava bar. I was working at the kava bar.
Okay.
And I'm on my laptop, and in walks a couple with a child on their stroller, right? Like a very young couple. She sits next to me, but I just kind of got this like voice of like, you got to talk to her about the vaccines. And I was like, how am I going to talk to a stranger that I don't even know about a very sensitive topic? Most people are like guarded and they get mad. So I don't know, we just kind of talked, and I was like, oh, first time here? And she's like, yeah, no, we just don't live in Miami. We go to the location in Delray Beach. And I was like, oh, I've never been. We started just kind of like conversing. One thing led to another, and I asked her, I'm like, oh, is that your baby? So we start talking about the baby, and I'm like, perfect, this is my chance.
Yeah.
And I say to her, are you happy with his pediatrician?
Are you happy with what?
With his pediatrician.
Oh.
And her face turned. Like, she went from being like, having a good time with me and friendly to just like, no, we're looking for a new one. We just had the worst experience. And I was like, what happened? And she's like, he's 6 months old. I just took him to get his vaccines. I was like, perfect. Like, it was so crazy to me because she says like that. It was like a sign. And I was like, what happened? And then she's like, I took him to get his vaccines. So he gets like 6 vaccines in one sitting. I take him home. In the car, he starts foaming out of his mouth and having seizures and just, like literally dying on me. So I rush into the hospital, and they're like, we don't know what's going on. And she's like, they just vaccinated him. No, it's not the vaccines. It cannot be the vaccines. There's no way it's the vaccines. The doctor comes out and tells her it's a UTI. We're going to put some like thing up her like small, child penis. And she's like, absolutely not. I'm taking my child. I know it's the vaccines. So when she told me that, I was like, you're absolutely right. Here's the vaccines. We stayed talking till like 2 a.m. that night. And I was like, here's my Instagram. Here are all the finders. These are the books you need to read. These are the people you need. Again, back then, 2019 was not what it's not like now. Now it's very hard to find this info. I think even harder than now, right? Yeah. So we became friends, and, I saw her a few times later. The baby is fine, The baby, I don't think regressed. I think so far, the last time I saw him was like 2 years old. I haven't seen him in a while, but the baby, it's, good.
She should still run some labs,
yeah.
do some heavy metal testing, do some fatty acid tests. Like, she shouldn't just because on the outside the baby looks fine. With that sort of damage, there's still stuff that's happening behind the scenes.
It's really scary, and that
sets you off to feeling like the world needs to know about this, right?
And to be honest with you, I feel like I've saved so many kids because I've had my Wake Up with Linda account now since 2018. That's,
you have a lot of followers now, right?
Yes. So
300,000 or something?
It was like, no, I have 2 different accounts. So combined, I have like over 200,000.
Because you lost an account, right?
Yeah.
You start over.
Yeah. And then they ended up giving me my old account, but that was a whole year that I couldn't grow the account.
Wow.
So they make sure to keep you back.
Oh, yeah.
So I've saved so many people, even some of my best friends who have children now, they just didn't vaccinate their kids. And at first, the dads, especially, because I feel like men are a little bit more on the logical side. So they're like, you're wrong. You got to vaccinate the doctors, the experts.
Yeah.
But I told her, you need to follow your intuition as a mother.
Women's intuition is so powerful.
And I'm like, if your intuition's telling you that this is wrong, follow it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Exactly.
I wasn't as good of a researcher, so I didn't have that information, but we know everything we need to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, you started down that path. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, even if I've had conversations with strangers and they wanted to like choke me because I so offended them by telling them to do research, and I'm just like, listen, you do what you want with this information. I just feel this need to tell everybody that there is another side to the story.
Yes.
And if you choose to not look at the other side, and God forbid you give your child that shot and they don't wake up that night, like, I just feel like I've at least tried to give you the information that you need to make the right decision, instead of somebody bamboozling you or beating you into fear and submission.
The same thing with a good friend of mine who's in politics too, and he realized after meeting me, and I was talking about SIDS, I'm like, how is it possible that a perfectly healthy child goes to the doctor, they get a dose of 6 vaccines at 2 months old, 4 months, 6 months, etc., very tiny baby,
and they don't wake up,
and
it was genetics,
genetics. So a friend of mine,
how do you not connect the drugs to the death?
To the death, right? And then it's sudden infant.
You don't need to be a genius.
And then they're like, oh, it's the co-sleeping. I'm like, have you seen how people in poor countries, like third world countries, sleep? It'll be like 1 bed and 6 siblings with the newborn in between.
Yeah.
And you're telling me, I mean, you think that everybody in the third world is sleeping in separate beds in cribs when they're poor? No. And they're fine. Yeah. And my friend realized that his son had died of SIDS because of the information that I was posting. He had twins. One didn't wake up. How are you going to blame genetics when one didn't wake up?
And did they both get the shots the same day?
Yes.
Well, he's lucky that both of them.
Yeah. And just like, they tell you 24, 48 hours later, death. So, I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of parents, of parents with children who have autism or whose children died. I have another follower of mine. Her name is Mayra from Texas. Really sad. When she started first following me, she showed me her adult child who still had autism. He passed away 2 years ago. I mean, a lot of parents are like, I'd rather my child have autism than get the measles. Do you know the life of suffering that parents
so sad
have when they have children with autism?
Yeah.
And they don't live very long.
No.
They don't. They just don't.
No. And if they do happen to outlive their parent, who will take care of them?
Who will take care of them? They're not functional. So, to me, this is a very, it was kind of developed into the activism for COVID, because I was just posting content of medical freedom, of, pro-Trump content, things like that, telling the Hispanic community, like, you guys are dumb. You listen to Univision, you listen to Telemundo, but the reality is that they're the equivalent of like CNN.
Right.
You know, they're lying to you. We have very conservative values, right? Very conservative culture, nuclear family, strong religious, you know, background. I went to Catholic school when I lived in Colombia, all nun, all Catholic. So it doesn't make any sense for you to support, you know, the party of pro-abortion, of LGBT for children, of transgenderism, of gender confusion, open borders, which is unsafe for all of us, especially women. So, you know, I think we collectively, not just myself, but, you know, those of us, because very early on, I mean, you couldn't be a Trump supporter and have a job.
Yeah.
You know, I had to fend for myself.
You were supporting Trump in 2016 or
in 2017? I started supporting him.
So did you
voted? Yes.
You voted for Hillary?
Hillary.
Oh no.
Yes. I voted for Hillary, guys.
Okay, wait. Okay, so what opened your eyes? I didn't know who Hillary was either, but I didn't vote for her. She just something sleazy was about her. But what was that moment where you were like, wait a minute, I was living in the Matrix and totally bamboozled by this lady.
Yeah. So
I was a Republican because of taxes.
Yeah, you told me that,
know
which makes a lot of sense. I wish I would have known
Republican,
that.
But now I'm an activist Republican because after COVID, I saw. What are you talking about? If you're a Democrat, you want a mandate. If you're not, like, okay, so now there's a clear line I need to be on.
So basically, I think that was my first time voting since I became a citizen. So I became a citizen in 2018. So 2016. No, sorry, 2012 was when I became around 2014. Sorry. So yes, 2014, and then so my first presidential election was 2016.
We'll chalk it up to you being new to the country.
Right. So to be honest with you, I think it was more because when I was in college, Obama, like the Democrats weren't that crazy.
You didn't know they were crazy. I didn't know the media was crazy. Hiding it.
Right.
Obama killed more people than any other president. He was just a warmonger. I mean, he did some really bad stuff.
But
the media protected him and made him look like a golden, shining boy. And I think he won some stupid Nobel Prize.
He was charming.
Yeah, he was a big scammer.
Yeah. So I think I was still like too young. You know what I mean? Like and dumb. And I didn't see any of the bad things about Obama. Like I thought he spoke well. Back then he was even like anti-illegal immigration. Like I know they were bad, but they hadn't gone that insane yet.
I understand.
Like Obama came in, I know he made gay marriage legal, but he came in as an anti-gay marriage guy. Like Democrats have evolved a lot. Like now they accept men pretending to be women. So it's so I vote for Hillary. Trump wins. I'm obviously like, oh my God, the world's gonna end. Fascism's here, type of stuff. But later in 2017, I kind of noticed how wild the media was. Like I was like, this is too much. Like it's not that serious. Like you know what I mean? Like it's okay, guys. I get it, but in 4 years we vote for someone else. And I think the turning point was when Trump signed the pharma bill with Mitch McConnell, which made hemp legal. And that opened up the entire hemp industry. I mean, all the CBD stuff that you see, and I get that like the medicinal is kind of like overdone, but you can make so much out of hemp paper, clothes, even gasoline. So I'm like, why are you guys against legal hemp?
Yeah. They're against everything he does.
This is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's going to be $1 billion industry. It is now. So many jobs, so many entrepreneurs that are going to be born from this. And then, all the benefits that we can get, not just medicinal, but like I said, all the different things that you can do with the plant. So I was like, okay, like the Democrats you guys are starting to like freak me out. And then I think I just kind of, which is why content is so important. And, a lot of times people hate influencers, but you never know when you're online and somebody says, what do you think about this video about Charlie Kirk? What do you think about this, debate with Ben Shapiro? Or, so I'm like, I'm watching Charlie Kirk videos. I'm like, he makes sense. I'm watching Ben Shapiro videos. I'm like, he makes sense.
Yeah, super logical.
Super logical. And back then, I think Candace Owens was just starting to take off. I remember Kanye tweeted about her. This was before he went super crazy. He's like, I like the way Candace Owens thinks. I'm like, okay, let me go check out Candace Owens. And I'm like, she makes a lot of sense too. So all these people start influencing me, and I'm like, okay, I totally see how I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And Trump is the good guy. And also, it was the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Because I'm like, what? There's like this pedo island.
Yeah.
And this Lolita Express. And then I'm start finding info that Trump had kicked them out of Mar-a-Lago.
I didn't know that.
Years prior. Yeah.
Wow.
So Jeffrey Epstein used to live on the island and have a membership at Mar-a-Lago.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And then one time he was like hitting on a very young girl, like, you know, the pool girl or somebody that works there in the summer,
goodness.
right? When the season's open. And her dad also worked at the club. So she's like, there's this older guy, whatever. Point is that he ended up getting kicked out because he was hitting on a minor. And when the prosecutors, you know, years ago, 2008 or something, Trump was the only celebrity or person that was willing to cooperate with the special prosecutors. So, and I watched the video of the prosecutor saying that, like, no, you know, Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, you know, and then I see all the different laws of Trump helping with human trafficking. And I'm like, honestly,
he was one of the biggest advocates against human trafficking. He spent the most money as a president fighting human trafficking. People don't realize that.
Yeah, they don't. And, you know, the border is a hub for human trafficking. So they tell you all these poor people are coming here, you know, they're running away from, and that is true. A lot of people just want a better life, right? They're not just poor, but perhaps in like very violent countries, they want to get away, they want a better life for their children. So I understand that.
Yeah.
But when we don't have laws and we don't have, you know, some sort of security and vetting at the border, it's not just dangerous to us as citizens, but the people coming in.
Sure, of course. So many little girls are raped and brutalized, and young women. It's horrible. They come here, they think that they're going into the arms of somebody, but they're being sex trafficked. I mean, this is real stuff. This is not a conspiracy theory.
Right. So I look into a case called the egg farm case. People can still look it up. So you can put Obama era like egg farm case, and it's a human trafficking case. And I get really into this case. I mean, I'm like looking at congressional like records. I'm like, you know, 50 tabs open in my computer, like researching. The reason why that case is so important, was so important to me, is because it proved that the United States immigration laws are a legal loophole for trafficking. So in the case, all these underage like teens were found in an egg farm in like the middle of nowhere in Ohio. I think a neighbor saw something, somebody said something, and then the feds came in, they find them in a trailer, feces. I mean, these people are literally like slaves, like, and they're teenagers, right? And when they do their research and like who these kids are, where do they come from, what are they doing in the middle of Ohio, we come to find out that during the Obama era, there was all of these underage kids, right? Ages like 14 or sometimes like even 10 to like 17, never over 18, right? Which is already like, why, right? Why are all of these teenage, mostly boys, traveling to the border? And then when they get here, they ask for asylum. And because we have certain protections for minors, the United States has to take them in and process them and gives them a day in court, and also a lot of times given to a sponsor. So they're giving to the Office of Refugee Resettlement, and then they gave it to a sponsor. But the thing is, they weren't vetting any of these sponsors, so anybody could show up and be like, hi, I'm Layla, and like I'm here for Linda and Laura and Steven. And they were like, okay. So they started giving like, like 90,000 children to all these people that were not vetted. Nobody knew who they were. They were just coming in and getting these children. And then That's it.
This was when?
This is Obama era, so like 2012, like around that time.
Horrible.
2014, like before the Trump era. And long story short is that we end up finding out that the reason how that all happened was because these kidnappers and human traffickers, they go over to like Nicaragua, El Salvador, Mexico, like those countries, and then they go to like the super poor areas and recruit them. And then they'll tell their parents, like, look, I'm gonna make you a deal. We have job for your teenagers over in America, you know, and all they have to do is get to the border, and then we'll be their sponsors. And then, you know, we're going to give them education, we're going to give them a job, you know, etc. So the parents, most of the time, uneducated third world people, very poor, desperate, say, sure, what a great idea. The kids come. The people, you know, our sponsors get them, and they don't know that they end up being trafficked. I mean, this is all verifiable, right? This is not like crazy conspiracy. Like, this is like Senate hearings and an open case.
So go back to the egg farm.
So they just raided the egg farm. They rescued all the children. And once the investigation started, they were able to arrest individuals that were like foreign nationals of like El Salvador and those, you know, it's the trilateral countries in Central America. And nothing. I mean, I don't know where the kids are now. They're more grown, but this also happened during Biden. There was like 240,000 children that were missing during Biden. Nobody knew their whereabouts. Nobody knew who they were given to. So I started making videos about that on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, and saying, how could the Democrats say that they're pro-Hispanics or pro-minorities when they have these open borders and these loopholes that allow traffickers to abuse the system and, you know, in a way, kidnap and traffic these children?
You say you love kids,
right?
So let them in,
right?
Meanwhile, you're just giving them into the hands of a stranger that's doing horrific things to these poor kids. So, you know, where's the love for the children? Why don't you want to protect our kids? Horrible. Was it you know, we've supported Tom Homan.
Yes.
You know, he worked with some guys and they put together a documentary, and I had a chance to meet him in person.
Very cool.
What a beautiful soul that man is.
He looks tough on the outside.
He is.
But you can just tell that, you know, energetically he's a good guy.
Angel.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget him sharing a story of when he was back then, because, you know, he quit during the Biden time.
Yeah.
He's like, no way. This was during, because he had been serving since, I think, all the way back to Reagan.
Really?
He was a long time. Wow. And sharing the story of a raid where a little 5-year-old boy literally died, like, in his arms. And he's like crying, sharing the story.
It's horrific.
You know, or going up to a big truck, and you know, there were like 30 dead bodies in there because they literally fried them to death because they couldn't breathe, and it was in the boiling heat. So he's like, how is this humane? Yeah. These are unnecessary deaths. And he talks a lot about the sex trafficking. Yeah. So to me, it's like when I hear, you know, these certain stupid politicians, you know, crying for open borders, you're crying for rape and murder and trafficking of children. Yeah. Like,
and women, 1 in 3 women, that's the statistic. 1 in 3 women are raped coming through the border from coyotes or, you know, narcos or just bad men at the border. And then their panties are hanged. And I've seen the documentaries. They hang their bras and they hang their underwear like a prize in the desert.
That's horrible.
It's, you know, it's very inhumane. So, you know, for me, I just really wanted to get, and I knew I was going to get backlash.
But what do you mean you got backlash? Why would you get backlash over saying let's protect our children?
Because the Democrats are insane. And I think now, being a conservative or a Republican or on the right or pro-Trump, whatever you want to label, it's a lot more acceptable, and it's like MAGA's mainstream, right? Like now they're writing about MAGA in like different fashion magazines, and it's becoming like, it's a lot more open to be MAGA. But when, you know, from 2016 until like not that long ago.
Yeah.
It was just, you know, you were just bombarded with hate. And they would call your job and be like, you know, Layla Sentner works here. Why are you hiring this? You know, I had a gay friend of mine who lost his job at a coffee shop. And because was a gay Trump supporter. Think about that. They tell you that it's us who, you know, persecute gay people and want to put him in concentration camps and conversion therapy. And then it's them who want to leave them jobless. Yeah.
Crazy.
So,
and we're supposed to live in a democracy where you're allowed to decide who you want to vote for, you know, what your beliefs are, and yet they will kick you out and ostracize you. I mean, look, when I was blasted all over the media in 2021, the Miami Herald, which is the shittiest. Yeah. You know, I don't even know what do you even call them. They're not even. They're propaganda. Yeah. They're propaganda for the local Democratic Party. Yeah. You know, they posted my address. Where I lived, where I used to live on Pine Tree, they posted my freaking address. Disgusting, vile human beings. And they were like, this anti-vax MAGA Trump supporter. And I'm like, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
You're vile.
They doxed me too because I sued Miami-Dade against the mask. That was part of my activism.
Did you win that?
I didn't because it was dismissed. And then we were going to appeal. And DeSantis that's when he stopped the mask mandate. So we were in the process of starting the appeal because when it was dismissed, a lot of people said, oh, you lost. No, because we didn't even go through trial. Like nothing ever happened. The court just said it was dismissed. But a lot of it was that the court didn't want to be activists. Yeah. And they didn't want to get involved. Yeah. It was kind of like the height of cancel culture. Yeah. And so even to find a lawyer was like very hard. Like nobody wanted to take the cases.
Nobody wanted to fight for a constitutional right.
Anthony Sabatini was my lawyer because he was the only person that was taking lawsuits. Yeah. And I had to beg him. He's like, I can't. I have too many cases. I'm like, please. Like, I'll have the retainer overnight. Like, just please, like, give me a chance. And he was like, fine. So
how's he doing?
I think he's doing well. He's a councilman in, I think it's Lakeland.
Okay.
It's a smaller city in Florida. He's doing well. Okay. Yeah.
Because he was running for congressman, right?
He ran for, yes, I think for state. But the thing is, Anthony, you know, in politics, especially if you're going to run, you have to have allies. It's all very like internally, it's, you know how it is. It's who you know and how much they like you. And I think the state Republicans don't like him because he's very outspoken.
Yeah, he's I like that about
you know, yeah, exactly. Like, we like that, but I think that they kind of like, you know, kept them from getting there. So, but he's doing well. I think he'll go up, you know, to do more.
I think he's smart. I like him. We supported him.
Yeah, exactly. He's a good guy.
So, you have a new podcast now, right?
Yes.
The one that I was on with your friend. Tell me, when did that start and what are you focused on your podcast?
So it's not new. We just restarted again. We kind of like taken a little break. It's like our season 2. So we started it 2022. We talked about it after Trump lost or the election was stolen. We were thinking like, how do we kind of challenge, like, you know, transfer our energy into something more productive and kind of like inform the public. You know, at that time we, you know, podcasting, now it's kind of like saturated, but back then, you know, you had Joe Rogan and some people, and I said, let's just start a podcast. So we started the podcast. We did really well. In the 3rd episode, we got a shout out from the president of El Salvador, which was crazy because he saw we had made a video about him, kind of like detailing who he is, what he's done in the country.
Wow.
And it was the first piece of organic content that, you know, a lot of times they pay for content. We just did it because we thought he was such an interesting character.
Yeah.
And he was doing so well for the country. So we got a shout out from him, and, you know, we are still small. We got like 10,000 followers only on YouTube, but we have really good retention rate, which means like you know, if you have a big following,
Yeah.
a million, but you only get 500 people, I mean, what
Yeah.
are you really converting?
Yeah.
But we've had a lot of success. We're restarting now. We want to focus a lot on, like, you know, talking to interesting people like you that are local and, you know, do stuff for the community and are activists, as well as giving another voice to Miami because of what you said. You have 2 publications here, which are not counting on like whatever Channel 10 and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the Miami Herald, which is extremely liberal propaganda. There's
Such liars.
there's no balance. There's nothing. There's just everyone that is not a Democrat is bad, evil, anti-fascist, you know, the worst thing. And then there's us.
Yeah.
And then there's the Miami New Times, who they're super broke. They had to fire all their staff because they get no views. So there's space for people.
They're liars,
right? Because they're liars.
You're supposed to be
impartial.
And people should be able to trust you, but you're liars.
Yeah. So
they deserve to be bankrupt.
Exactly. And so is the Herald, by the way. They had to shut down their offices across the bridge because they had
deserve it too.
No money to pay because they're awful.
Yeah.
So now, you know, we're focusing on that, where we had you last week, and then this week is just going to be me and her going over the news and everything that's going on. But the week before that, we had Roger Stone and George Masvidal, who's a UFC player, UFC fighter. And
Roger's awesome.
Yeah, Roger's so funny. We really want to give a voice to Miami, and a lot of things have happened. It happened to you with the whole park situation, where people just don't get the truth. No. And I know, do you want to know how I know?
Even now, like when you look at the comments for the recent article that the Miami Herald wrote about, you know, our former lobbyist who's suing us.
Yeah.
Even though this guy is the one that quit. He's suing us for loss of wages. Imagine that.
Insane.
They wrote an article and some of the comments were so nasty. And it's like, you know, you're living in such a cave. It's like you don't even they don't even realize that actually I was right. I was right all along about the vaccine thing, and this park thing was a donation. Yeah. It was a donation to the city. But they have so much hate and anger in their heart. They can't see anything that's being done good. That's why all the good things Trump is doing, they don't want to see it.
Yeah.
They're like,
they
hey,
just lie.
You know, we're saving you billions of dollars. I don't care. You're a fascist. You know?
That's actually like one of the craziest things, where you don't want to save money. And they're telling you, like yesterday, I think it was the Doge report was like, I don't know how many Americans that have been dead for a very long time were giving PPP loans, including one loan for a person that's 156 years old. We gave him $33,000. Like, you don't care that money is going to dead people? Your money, your taxes?
And it's probably going to like some con artist.
Yeah,
in another country.
Obviously that's like writing down like social security numbers of people that have been dead for a very long time. So I think it's crazy, especially because we are now paying like 30% or more of taxes. And then you have local taxes, you have sales taxes. If you have a property, even if you buy it, if you pay it off, you're still paying property taxes. So,
which is insane.
You know, I don't even think they do that in South America.
They don't do that in a lot of countries, you know.
Your house your home.
Is your
home. Exactly.
You know, and why should you have to pay every single year for your home?
Yeah. So, you know, my idea now is to kind of be that voice for Miami. So I'm doing more topics, more conversations. There's an election in Coral Gables, so I've been talking about that, supporting Mayor Vince Lago. Last year, I helped the mayor of the city of Miami, Francis Suarez, with a little situation that he had. You know, they lie in the media. So similar to what they did to you, they said that Francis was under investigation by the FBI, by some ethics commission or something, because he went to the Formula One with, I don't know if he was a lobbyist or it could have, who cares? He's the mayor of the city of Miami. Who cares if he goes to the Formula One? It's not like he's spending our money doing that. He was invited, as most mayors do, right? It's garbage. It's garbage. So what happens is then you have like a very biased activists, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go. Anybody can file an ethics complaint against the mayor or anybody. It doesn't mean it's gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
So they write the complaint, and then what they do is they give it to the media. The media comes up with the article and says, Mayor Suarez is being investigated by the FBI for potentially violating, and then so by that time that the public gets it, it's like, oh wow, our mayor's corrupt, our mayor's corrupt, our mayor's corrupt. And it's not until later the damage is done.
Yeah.
They come back and say, never mind.
Exactly.
We found nothing.
That's what they did to us.
That's what they do. And it's always the Herald. So, I found some like dirty information about one of the reporters that was targeting him. They had flown her here. They had moved her here. Not Tess. Tess, we haven't. She's horrible.
Horrible.
Sarah Blasky.
Oh, worst.
Worst.
That lady.
She's gone.
Isn't she wasn't she a registered communist or something, a Marxist?
So that's what we did. We found out that she had ties to a bunch of socialist organizations. And we're not saying socialist just to be like dramatic or like inflammatory. Like the publications that she was writing for and working with were Marxist organizations. And, we started exposing that.
She was nasty.
And it looks like the Herald actually didn't know about that. And they got so much hate and so much heat that she ended up leaving to Washington. And she works for the Washington Post now.
Wow.
Yep. So there's one less of them here.
Corrupt media person.
Yes, one less.
Sure, she was just replaced by another.
Yeah, but like I said,
they get them all out.
Yeah. Or and do alternative media like this type of stuff.
Or focus on alternative media. That's what people need to do. Just turn off the Herald.
Yeah.
What do you think about what happened with the Fox News and how they say Bobby Kennedy wrote an op-ed supporting everybody getting the measles, and it was total crap. He never supported people getting the measles. They took his editorial
words.
and they basically re-wordsmithed it to make it look like he's telling everybody to get the measles shots. Mm-hmm. That's Fox News.
I actually judged them too, because I read the headline and the sub-headline was bad. The sub-headline said, MMR vaccine is important to avoid deadly disease. Getting the MMR vaccine.
But it was a scam and a lie. He never said that.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people still in the conservative space that only think the COVID vaccine is bad.
Yeah.
And they, for some reason, because I have followers that are like, oh, it's only the COVID vaccine. The MMR vaccine has been around since 1963. And I'm like, and what do you think has happened since 1963? 1 in 36 children has autism. Children have eczema and asthma and nut allergies
ADHD.
And peanut ADHD. What do you mean? If our children's health was better than it was in 1963, if we didn't have an epidemic of autism, then we wouldn't have much to say about the vaccines.
Yeah.
But the reality is that I think that the MMR is probably one of the more dangerous vaccines in the entire schedule.
I agree. I mean, well,
it's so scary.
I think it's hepatitis B shot because they're giving it to infants at 1 day.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. If you're going to give a 1-day-old 10 times the amount of aluminum, there's no way you're not impacting that baby's poor little brain.
Yeah.
You might not see it in outward, but you're decreasing their IQ for sure.
For sure.
There's definitely some brain inflammation that's going on there. Yeah. And God knows if that's going to turn into cancer because of all the toxins that you just bombarded that sweet little baby with.
So
if there's anything I want to do is scream at the top of the mountain to all moms, please do not give your 1-day-old baby shot. All of them are bad.
Yeah.
But if you're so brainwashed in the matrix that you think you must do it, why are you going to give your baby a shot for drug use and that drug users get and prostitutes? Mm-hmm. Drug users and prostitutes get hepatitis.
Yeah.
Why would you give it to your brand new baby? If you think they're going to get it from the mom, test the mom.
Well, do you usually get tested? Don't you get tested when you're going to have kids?
You do.
You
right? Get tested anyway.
Exactly.
And they still give it to these babies.
So then I don't understand.
It doesn't make sense.
The same thing with, I tell people, we are the ones that say, oh, vaccines saved us. vaccines are the reason why we're alive. I'm like, most of the disease that was spreading in the 1950s and before that, a lot of it had to do because we didn't have a proper sanitation system.
Yeah.
We simply didn't. When you look at where polio spread, it was mostly in the suburbs, mostly in farms. And the children that were dying were, I hate to say it, but low income, poor children, malnourished, etc. Not that it's any better, but the reality is that Americans used to treat the measles like we treated chicken pox. You would go over, your grandparents would go, and your cousin had it, and then you had it. You shared cups. That's what I did with the chicken pox when I was in Colombia. I did that with the chicken pox too. Right? You knew,
chicken pox party.
Exactly.
Everybody wanted to get it because then it strengthened your immune system, and you wouldn't get it as an adult.
Exactly.
Because if you get it as an adult, it's a lot worse.
Yeah. And for the people that think the vaccine immunity is forever, it's not. It's not natural immunity. It can never replicate natural immunity. And that's with most things that it's created by big pharma. Some of them can be more convenient and some of them can be, actually good or helpful, but it can never replicate nature. That's what people don't understand. It can replicate nature. And even Elon Musk had to admit and say that he did get the COVID shot, I think twice. He got the original, well, not the original, but he got the COVID shot and then he got boosted. And he said that he had never been more sick. That the second time, he recently spoke about it. He even thought he was going to have to go to the hospital. It was that bad.
I had no idea. Well, hopefully it opened his eyes.
Yeah.
Because he's a smart guy. We need him on our side.
Yeah. Well, his child, I think, died from a vaccine.
I heard about that. I just didn't know if it was true or not. Was it recently?
No, this was like 15. It's like with his first marriage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. SIDS. It's his first kid, I think, or second kid.
That's crazy. Yeah. He's got like 13 kids,
2 months, 14, 2 month old. And I said, that's 2 month shot schedule. So... I think more people than would like to think their children have died from SIDS, and they just don't know it because they just tell you, oh, we don't know, it's just SIDS.
The sad part is I've heard that parents have been arrested for their kids dying from SIDS because the police would come and basically say you strangled your child by co-sleeping.
Right.
So we're taking you to jail, which is horrible. You just lost your child. And now you're being arrested because pharmaceutical company murdered your baby. I mean, it's asinine.
Yeah. I mean, they threaten you in the hospital. A lot of times they put fear in you. I had a follower of mine who became a friend. Her third child, she was in the hospital and she's like, I don't know what to do. They're trying to force me to get the vitamin K shot. And they're saying that if I don't get it, my baby's going to bleed out. And I'm like, calm down. I'm like, you need to just relax. And because I can also tell her, don't get it. I have to be very, I'm like, you need to just calm down and trust your motherly intuition. Tell them to give you the label, read the insert. I mean, do you really think that babies need vitamin K? We're humans just born so imperfect?
Yeah, exactly.
What did we do before this existed? Also, that's what I tell people. I go, we've been around at least, I don't know, maybe 5,000 years, 10,000. I would probably think closer to 7,000 to 10,000 years as a human race.
Yeah.
And what did we do before vaccines that have only been around for 100 years?
Yeah, well, if you think about during the Bible days, how long did Abraham live? Right? Wasn't it 700-800 years or something? People say that, oh, we live longer now. Yeah. No, actually, we lived a lot longer back then.
Yeah.
But then what happened is when we all started living close together and the sanitation system couldn't keep up with the population growth, then we all started getting sick and dying at a young age. So we went from living really, really long, healthy lives when there wasn't all this glyphosate and pesticides and toxic here, toxic there, really old to super young.
Yeah.
And now we're just kind of climbing back. But still not living a healthy life because so many people have chronic diseases, and now pharmaceutical drugs are just keeping them alive, but keeping them in this perpetual cycle of having to take more and more and more drugs. So my husband had a cousin who just passed away. She was 80 years old and she was taking 15 different medications. that were keeping her alive.
That's crazy.
So she's not living a healthy life, and she ended up dying a really horrible, painful death, but pharmaceutical was keeping her artificially alive.
That's crazy.
But her body was just full of toxins.
You know, they do it with women with birth control. And then there's so many women now that they have fertility issues, and you don't know if a lot of times they put you on birth control. Like, I remember being on birth control because I had bad cramps. And the gyno was like, you know, you need to take birth control because it was going to regulate your period. And I'm, you know, very young and stupid. And I'm like thinking that this expert knows what's best for me. So I just, you know, I think that even though we are sicker as a society, I do think that the eyes of people are opening up more and more and more, and people are becoming more health conscious.
They did the same thing to me because I had bad acne. And like, oh, get on birth
yes,
control
they did that
and we will
too.
control your acne. Meanwhile, I had to have 2 babies with IVF because I had been taking birth control way too long. And they're putting 13-year-olds on birth control because of acne and cramps. I mean, it's horrible.
Wow.
Anybody watching this show, and if your doctor is trying to get your 13-year-old on freaking birth control because of acne, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Clean up the gut.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
You know, your body is purging out these pimples because there's toxins that need to come out.
Yeah, that's what I've told, you know, followers on podcasts before. I'm like, everything has to do with your gut.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah.
Well, it's always fun catching up with you, Linda.
Thank you for having me on your show.
It's always fun chatting, and thank you for all the good work that you're doing out there.
Of course.
The activism, informing people. Keep going up to strangers who have a baby or are pregnant. I do the same thing. Yeah. And, you know, I just really feel that calling from God. Like, you know, they're his kids.
Yeah.
And we're here to protect his children. And I really, really wish more adults would do that.
Nice.
And hopefully, you know, if the next scamdemic comes around the corner, we will have more adults that will fight for our kids.
Hopefully
like
there won't be any while we're alive.
Hopefully
they
won't, but I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, people forget things too soon.
That's true. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Until next time.
All right.